Welcome to 2025, first improvement video of the year. Starting off in panels, Colin at the exterior line showing us we've moved these staples up to the top where they're easy to grab, but when he opens a new box, it's a little bit of a struggle to pull them out. So he started the practice of going ahead and pulling out the first few sticks when he opens a new box to eliminate that struggle when you're in the heat of the moment producing product. Great improvement. Andrew's showing us a really cool improvement at the extruder. So when you're the operator and you finish a wall, you push it out on these rollers to eject it from the operating station, and it can get caught. If you don't push it straight, it can get caught in those uprights and those braces. So use your head, not your wallet. Just grabbed a piece of cull lumber, ran it across there so you don't have to worry about it snagging anymore. Wonderful improvement. Great improvement from Colin here related to the flow of cull material away from the hopper station at the extruder. So before the material was oriented the way that 2x4 is on that cart right there, it got in the way of loading new bundles on those rails as well as a tripping hazard. So they made this cart with wheels so you can change the orientation of the board. Now nothing's in anybody's way. Then once it's full, you can easily pull it out so that cull lumber's accessible for a forklift. Really cool stuff, guys. Way to go, Colin. Jumping over to trusses, Davis showing us improvements related to our labeling of plates. I love that we're focusing on upgrading our labeling, making it easy to read and accurate. This just helps eliminate defects. We want it to be hard to make a defect. We want all the information right there. This is a big upgrade for plates. Way to go, Truss team. This is awesome. So this is the component saw or the D-saw in trusses, and I don't know if y'all knew this, but it's cold outside. We've had struggles with this saw in the past when it gets too cold and it just starts to operate really, really slow. Maintenance got us this heater put up, keeps everything warm enough that we're not having any issues out of that component saw now. Awesome improvement. So really cool improvement here. This is at Floor Trusses, and they made a cart with every grade of 2x4 because even though we have QC checks that the saw and the stacker trying to get those top and bottom cords for floor trusses perfect, occasionally something that should have been culled still gets through, and then it's a huge hassle for the splicer to go get what they need. It just really slows them down. So somebody had the idea, I don't know if Davis, if it was you or somebody else, but to make a cart with just all grades right there that you can easily grab what you need, chop it on a chop saw, keep everything running in the case that that slips through, and we don't end up sending a defect to our customers. This is so cool. Another improvement in splicing. So when you're splicing really long cords, we've had these supports so that you don't need a second person to hold that 2x4 that they can just sit on. Now they've got wheels on them, so it's easier to get those in the right spot, just less hassle. You don't have to pick it up. You can easily roll it into the right spot. Very cool stuff. So one more improvement in floor trusses, and I love how good ideas spread. This is one they stole from the extruder. So the extruder is a really long production line, and floors is similar, and there wasn't an easy way to get to the other side without walking all the way around. In the case of floors, you could duck under those rails, but that's a hassle. So just built these steps and this platform so you can easily step across, maybe help the person on the back side if they need a hand instead of having to walk all the way around. So this is table 3 in roof trusses. This is the only manual table we have left, and we're getting it ready to go because I feel like we're going to have a really big year and going to need it to hit the volume that we need. So I've been going through it and identified a struggle with these old pucks that you turn with that Allen to loosen and tighten in place. And it was brought up to get some new ones machined, so they did and made a bigger connection that's just easier to attach and detach. There's a little bit less hassle in that process. Really cool identifying that little bit of struggle and going and fixing it. Excited to see the growth on the millwork coordination team. Eric introducing some of his new team members. So Chris, Stacy, Anna, Zach, Mark, welcome aboard. We're happy to have you. Sterling and Eric showing us some improvements on the coordination side, working towards a one-piece flow model instead of batch work. So what that means is getting specific salesmen and accounts teamed up with specific people on the coordination team. So instead of having a batch model where it's possible for things to fall through the cracks and defects to happen, creating more of a one-piece flow mindset there. Really, really love where this is headed. Can't wait to see the results. Colin might be new to his office role in service and install, but he's definitely not new to lean. Taking those ideas that he learned in production and applying them to the office, created a template here when he's scheduling appointments so he doesn't have to type it out every time. This is perfect. Textbook stuff, Colin. Way to go. I talked about making labeling improvements. Here's hinges and millwork production with the label just written in pencil before, and here is after with it printed. Much clearer, harder to make a mistake, faster and easier, saving those 2 seconds. Make sure you know what you're looking at, know what you're grabbing. Great improvement, guys. So this is over on the exterior side of the production area, and it's amazing. For as long as the production team at Beasley's been killing it in lean, there's just always room for more improvement. So massive improvement in flow and less transportation waste and move-in sills and sweeps over right next to the build station. Wonderful stuff, guys. Way to go. Nary working on dust collection, and I love it. Dust collection is something that's an issue in production in Murfreesboro as well as at Beasley. This is over at his router, building a little box with the vacuum to try to do a better job of collecting all of that so it's not a mess. Thanks for taking dust collection seriously, Nary. This is great. Danny with an awesome improvement. So trim is wrapped with shrink wrap on both sides, sometimes in the middle. And when we stand it up in these racks, if you have to bring it down and set it down and then cut the shrink wrap, it adds a step. It's a step that's a hassle. So just created the stick with a razor on the end of it, taped it red so nobody gets cut. Good stuff. Thank you, Wilson, for this awesome improvement, and thank you, Michael, for giving him the shout out. So product knowledge is a really big deal, and learning all of the trim profiles is not easy necessarily. And so how do we make that easier? How do we put the tools everywhere for guys to succeed? And so Wilson made this board with samples of all the different kinds of trim with the codes there, and that's back in the dispatch office so the drivers and driver helpers can get an idea of what they're looking at when they're just looking at a code on a piece of paper. Trying to get to where we make it hard to make mistakes because we give everybody the tools they need. One of those tools is product knowledge. This is really, really good. And look how clean of a job Wilson did. Way to go, man. Ken, very much improving a process to eliminate defects. So now when subcontractors come to pick up window packages and doors, we have a check-off process internally of who pulled it. But then we also have a sign-off process for the subcontractor to say, yes, I got everything. We also take pictures of everything, and those go to the related documents of the sales order. Really love that we have a process for this. We've got a spot for the paperwork that we store that we can reference if there's any issue. Just a really, really great improvement to eliminate defects. Dean putting the answer where the question is. So service and install teams, depending on what's going on that day, who's on what team can shuffle a little bit. And if you're in the office and you got to get a hold of somebody on Team Jocko, who do you call? Got a whiteboard, got some labels made with people's names. So every day that you can assign team members to a specific team, and now it's very visual. You can see who's on what team. Eliminates that question. Love it, Dean. Great job. And finally, our second receiving bay for Windows was only half usable because of this rack. That's the way it looked before. Here it is now. All cleared out so we can get racks on both sides so we can fully utilize that receiving bay. Great improvement, guys. And you jumped all over this. As soon as the idea came up, it was done. Windows receiving team, you guys are awesome. So happy New Year, everyone. So many awesome improvements already happening first part of the year. Makes me excited to see where we'll be a year from now. It's going to be a pretty amazing ride.